All right, so we've identified that your life feels like a hot mess and you still want to prepare for love, but you haven't hired me for private coaching as yet. So let's talk about what you can do in the meantime. And one of the things that you really want to focus on is how to step into contentment, and not just contentment as in this is just my life and what I'm going to be and what's going to happen, but stepping into a sense of gratitude and joy and not escapism. And one of the ways that you're going to be able to do that is to refocus on yourself, right? And the best way to do that is to tend to your annoyances. This is not a time for you to tolerate, right? Especially in the single state, you definitely don't want to tolerate, because what will happen is that you begin to wire yourself for mediocrity. You begin to pattern yourself for different sneaky habits that can come in and throw counterintentions into what it is that you're trying to create and who it is that you want to become and who it is that you want to attract. So here's a quick example of just tending to my annoyances. Well, first of all, let me just celebrate that I got this new chair and I'm just swinging around and I feel like such the ultimate professional here in my home office right now. So this is even one of the ways, but this is not the example that I wanted to share with you. The example that I wanted to share with you was I have this digital scale, right? And I'm gonna share two examples actually. Number one, I had this digital scale, when the battery is low, it takes one of those circular flat batteries. So when the battery is low, I have to constantly hit it, and it'll say low. It just doesn't give that balance, that zero balance, that shows, okay, it's permission to step on the scale. This scale has been like this for over a year, like with the low batteries, and I'll show it somewhere over here. This thing has been like this for over a year, so that when I will wake up in the morning, I have to like constantly lift it up or constantly knock it several times for it to get to that low balance before I can step on it. All I had to do was go get a battery, but for some reason, it's like, I'll do it later. I'll figure it out later. I don't feel like doing this. Maybe John can do it, da, 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 da. And it's something so simple, okay? It's something so simple. Eventually, as I was preparing for this video, I'm so glad because I had the sense of motivation to be like, you know what, let me go put a battery in, because I know that we had one in, one of those keep all drawers. I know we had one of those batteries and we did. And I'm so glad, because when I wake up in the morning and I step on the scale, I'm not like, oh my gosh, here we go again. But I thought about this idea. So here's the second example, because as I thought about this idea, I can remember when I came back from the hospital after being sick, and I had a shower chair because I didn't even have the strength to like stand up. And so John, I had a handheld shower that my husband like reinstalled, and it was good. The power was coming out. I'm like, ooh, that's so good. But then it burst. And then I had to use like the tube of it burst, the rope. And then I had to use the shower in the hallway. And when I'm talking about power, you're talking about power shower, like, and it just feels so good. Even when my mom comes to visit, she's like, whoa, this is so nice, because it's just so powerful and it just feels like a really good shower, but it's not handheld, which really doesn't matter. The point that I'm trying to make is that I got tired of using the hallway bathroom. I wanted to use a master bath. So then I end up going online and getting this Chaka Chaka Chibi Chibi shower head, and it was dual. So it's a handheld, but it's also a regular one, which I really don't even understand the purpose of that. And I should have known, spending like $35 on it. It looked okay, but when I got it and used it, I'm like, this is not it. So every time I stepped into the shower, I was annoyed. I felt like it was just 7 drips of water that was coming out, right? And I said to myself, I got to get me a shower head. And I have to get one that has a wider hole so that more power and water can come through it. For integrity purposes, I have not got a new shower head. I got to tell you the truth. One time I was going to, I was like, do I want to spend $100 on a shower head? I probably will. And then I was going to go to Menards, and I was like, what you want it for? I was like, I want a new shower head. He was like, okay. But then somehow I talked myself out of it. Okay, these are the sneaky habits that wire us for mediocrity. I talked myself out of it. And I don't have it, right? Because I became so used to it. I'm like, oh, this is not so bad. This is not so bad as I'm using my shower. This is not so bad. It's okay, But in my head, if I go to, and I probably won't be triggered again until if I use the shower in the hallway and then have to go back to what feels like the rinky dink shower head. I probably won't notice until I have that motivation. I'm saying this for you, especially in your single state. This is an opportunity again. These are the sneaky habits that wire you for mediocrity, where you can begin to accept anything. So as you begin to prepare yourself for the love that you want, you haven't decided to sign up for private coaching as yet, but you still want to do something now. Begin to tend to your annoyances so that when he comes, you're not accepting the things that really trigger you and annoy you. Because you have to remember, this is what I tell my clients, is that your body is a source of information. And you will have these neural signals that are sent as a service to you. This is a part of your nervous system. And your neural signals will send a signal to you, and you feel some kind of way. And you maybe can't put a pin on it, but you just feel some kind of way, and you're uneasy and you're unsettled. But because you have not been tending to your annoyances in your everyday life, when a man comes to you with his whatever it is that annoys you, you just go for it. And I'm not talking about little chaka annoyances. You have to choose the issues that you're willing to deal with and accept. Okay, you know what those are. You should know what those are. And if not, this is where coaching comes in, because when you decide to sign up for private coaching, one of the things that we'll uncover, the first thing that we'll uncover, is getting clear on the kind of men that you really want to meet in a way that goes beyond your list, that list that your friend or sister told you to write just years ago. This is the indispensable first step, because what will happen is that it sets you on the path faster and with more clarity than you would if you were trying to do this process on your own. So start paying attention to the neural signals that your body is sending to you. Pay attention to the messages that your body is sending to you, and start tending to your annoyances. Don't pattern yourself to ignore it, right? Don't tolerate, especially in the single season. Because I'm gonna tell you, if you've been tolerating it and then all of a sudden you get married and you just like, oh, I don't like this. It's gonna be a major adjustment. It's even more difficult. The second reason for why it's really important for you to tend to your annoyances now is so that you don't enter and find some empty pursuit as a way to cope, okay? If you don't tend to those annoyances, it's just going to flare up, right? You have to pay attention to these sensations that come up in your body that says you don't want that. And because you patterned yourself to annoy it, it's like, I don't want to deal with that. Let me go spend this money real quick. Let me go spend this big money on this big thing. Let me go eat some cake and ice cream and have this sugar. Let me go get another guy who I know who's not qualified, and let me flirt with him and send out all these wrong signals that I know I'm not serious about him just because I have not tended to this area of my life. Train yourself now, right? Train yourself now. Become the best that you can be in your everyday, so that ultimately you can bring that into a relationship, so that when you are in the dating landscape, you know what to do. You're not patterned to ignore it. You know how to do it in a way that is graceful and honorable. And you're operating in a sense of integrity, right? Tend to your annoyances now, because what's going to happen is that not only will you feel a deserving sense of accomplishment, but you also become proud of the woman that you'll be proud of the woman that you're becoming in the process.